Okay, well, a very good morning from Phuket. Apologies for this morning. Of course, the live stream was supposed to be going out at 10:30 this morning, but unfortunately I had some technical difficulties with my phone. Literally, I was just about to press the live button. I'd got everything loaded up, ready to go, and the phone decided to switch itself off. And for some reason, it wouldn't come back on. I don't know why it did that. It's never done it before, but of course then it meant I couldn't do the live stream. So we are now back down at Patong Beach. There we go. And I'm going to try and do a live stream because I went all the way back home after waiting 10 or 15 minutes. My phone wouldn't switch on. Got back home, and would you believe it, my phone came back on and was working normally again. So why that happened this morning, I don't know, but these are the things you have to sort of put up with. Very frustrating at times, of course. So we're down at Patong Beach live. It is the 1st of March. Of course, some of you will know the 1st of March is bringing some new easing of the restrictions, and there hasn't been as many as we would have hoped for on the 1st of March. But the one thing that there is, good morning from the UK. Hello, the UK. Stoke, very cold, I can imagine. Well, the weather hasn't been great over here the last week, 10 days. We've had some very cloudy weather. Now, when I got down here this morning, it was beautiful blue sky. But unfortunately, as you can see in a moment, let me just turn that over. Nice big black cloud starting to come over, and it looks like at some point, maybe later on today, we are going to get some rain, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't. It was beautiful this morning. So there's the beach, Patong Beach, of course. I've actually started down the northern end because normally I start down the southern end when I do Patong. So you've got the very well-known Patong sign, and then, of course, Patong Beach. So I'm going to hop onto the beach in a moment. We're going to just make our way a little bit down, a little bit further down, should I say. Come on, Nat. My wife there, busy away on social media. So as I was saying, the 1st of March has brought some easing of restrictions, and the main one really is, of course, day 5, the test. The PCR test that was required on day 5 has now been removed, which I think is great. There was talk in the media that the quarantine period for people that caught COVID when in Thailand would be reduced from 10 days down to 5 days. But unfortunately, we haven't seen that being officially announced. It was just talk. We were hoping that it would also take place. Hi, I'm struggling now because the sun is so bright over here. I can't see the comments fully because even though my screen's at maximum brightness, it is very bright. As you can see, a reasonable day. I'm not going to say it's beautiful. It was earlier on when I was first down here. But since I've gone home and come back, we are starting to see a little bit of cloud moving in. The weather for February, well, it's been very mixed this February, I'll be honest. A little bit disappointing for Thailand because bearing in mind February is smack bang in the middle of the dry season, of course, here in Thailand. But unfortunately, this February hasn't been very dry. And I am sort of hoping that yesterday was a beautiful day, and I thought, well, maybe we're over the worst. But it started very nice this morning, but there is some clouds moving in, as I say, so we could have some rain showers later on. But you can see it's not deterring the people on the beach. Actually, there's a few down here. Surprised me. There's a reasonable amount. It's not packed by any means, but there's a reasonable amount. There's some people in the shade there, relaxing. Of course, as I mentioned, we're starting northern end. We're going to make our way down past Loma Park that way and take a stroll in the southern direction rather than what I normally do, which is the south end to the northern end. So I thought I'd change it around today. Haven't been over to Patong for a while. Of course, I will be coming over to Patong and covering the nightlife. Slowly things are improving in Patong. When I last came here, it was mainly Beach Road and Bangla Road where most of the life was centred around. But I have noticed riding through Patong twice today that there are now starting to see more businesses further back in Patong. So there's more businesses opening up all the time. as the weeks are going on, things are definitely improving. So you're going to find more restaurants, more shops. We haven't seen the big shopping centre, John Ceylon, open as yet, and I don't believe Nat, is a central store open here in Patong? No, Nat's saying it isn't, and she has friends that work there. It's not reopened yet, so of course that would be great if the shopping centres were to reopen, because a lot of people are asking about that. A lot of people are also asking on my Facebook group. I should say, if you're new here to the channel and it's your first time watching, then my name's Tony. Welcome to the channel. Please feel free to subscribe. There's going to be a lot more content coming in the next month or two to my channel. I have been a bit lax with content. I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm going to try my hardest now with these live streams as well to bring you a lot more content, and hopefully things are looking a lot better. As I say, 1st of March, we've seen some restrictions being eased. It's only really the day 5 test that you no longer require, and of course, because of that being removed, you no longer require a night's accommodation at SHA Plus hotel. You only need that for the first night. After the first night and the first test, providing that comes back negative, then you are free to go and stay wherever you want to stay, either here in Phuket or around Thailand. Now, a lot of people have been asking me in the group, on my Facebook group, about the differences between Test and Go and the Sandbox. They're a little bit confused which one to go for, which to stay. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. Okay, not exactly blue sky, but beautiful. Quite a few people here. Quite a few people on the sunbeds. Quite surprised, actually. It's quite nice today. Now, the water's looking lovely. Absolutely glorious. Good morning from Greece. Well, hello, Greece. I love Greece. I used to go to Zakynthos. Rhodes is a favourite place of mine. Lindos in Rhodes, absolutely beautiful. Stunning place. It's been a long time since I've been to Greece, but hello, Greece. So, where was I now? Yeah, the differences between Sandbox and Test and Go. Well, to be honest, it's very little now. I would recommend, if you can come to Thailand under the Test and Go, that is definitely by far your best option. Pick that every time. And the reason why I'm saying the Test and Go is the best option is because basically it's the least amount of hassle. And the only real difference between the Test and Go and the Sandbox is the fact if you come under the Phuket Sandbox, or I believe any of the Sandbox schemes, but this may be not quite 100% accurate, but I know it's accurate for Phuket. So if you come to Phuket under the Phuket Sandbox scheme, you are not allowed to leave the island for the first 7 days. So that's the main difference between Sandbox and the Test and Go. So if you come under the Test and Go, you have your first test, you have your first night's accommodation in SAA Plus accommodation, and then after that you're free to go anywhere now. So very much like the original Test and Go. Hello Melbourne in Australia. Well, hello Australian viewers. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. If not, well, thank you for subscribing and coming back. So yeah, going back to the Sandbox, as I say, that is the real main difference. Of course, if you're coming to Phuket and you have no intention of leaving the island, then really it doesn't really matter whether you come under the Test and Go or the Sandbox. Regarding the paperwork, I'm not the best person to ask about the paperwork, and the simple answer is because I don't come into Thailand. I live here, so I don't have the first-hand experience that people that actually coming in the country will have. And obviously I would say those people that have recently been in to the country, members of my Facebook group, those people are better to ask as regards paperwork needed, because all I can tell you when it comes to paperwork is what's floating around the internet, and unfortunately there's a lot of inaccurate information on the internet and a lot of people get confused, and I don't like to give out information unless I can verify it from official sources, because there's nothing worse than giving out information that just causes more confusion. So as I say, I'm not the best person to ask regarding Test and Go and Sandbox paperwork. I can tell you what the official statements are online, but I don't have first-hand experience of the actual system. Somebody asked me in my group yesterday whether the first test is done at the airport. Well, from what I understand, I think you can have the test done at the airport, or you may have the test carried out at the hotel. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't come in the country under the test and go, so I don't actually know. And there is some conflicting information on the internet when it comes to whether the test is carried out at the airport or whether it's carried out at the hotel. I think in some cases it may be both. I don't mean you have two tests. What I mean is, depending on what flight you come in and what time, maybe it'll be done at the airport, or maybe it'll be done at the hotel or somewhere else that's been designated. I honestly don't know. So I said to the person that asked me, is obviously I'll let somebody in the group answer the question that's recently come in and has first-hand knowledge and experience of what the procedures actually are. Because, as I say, looking on the internet and looking on the Facebook groups, it's an absolute nightmare. You wouldn't believe how many groups I see, and I'm not going to mention names, but have a lot of inaccurate information. People may read something and then repost that, and that the information they've read is actually incorrect. And I try to verify all the information I post within my group. If I can't verify it, I don't post it. And the reason why I do that is to stop all the misinformation stuff, because people want to know, and I don't blame you. If I was coming to Thailand, I'd never been here before, I want to know the procedures before I come to the country, because there's nothing worse than entering into the country at the airport and not knowing what you've got to do. I totally understand that, and it can be very daunting, especially at the moment with the current climate, not knowing what's going to happen if I test positive and all these ifs and buts. I mean, I've tried to clarify about, if unfortunately you enter Thailand and you do catch COVID or you test positive for COVID while you're over here, a lot of people were saying that you get hospitalised immediately. You have no saying. Well, that wasn't accurate at all. And I've recently, in a recent video, I've tried to clear that up. It all depends on what category they put you as, whether you're a green patient, an amber patient, or red. So a lot of people were saying, oh, don't go to Thailand, because if you catch COVID there, you're going to be stuck in a hospital somewhere that's going to cost you a fortune. And that information is incorrect. Hi, Tony. Stefan. Hi, Stefan. I'm just about to see that with the bright sunlight here. Like I say, I struggle to see the comments on the screen because it's so bright over here. So again, I try to clarify points that I can officially verify. Now, I've had that verified by a large hotel chain, the Crown Plaza. I was lucky enough to be speaking to one of the managers of the reservations, and she explained it quite clearly and simply to me how that works, because a lot of people would be worried that they'd be separated from their families and things like that, and it's not necessarily the case. Of course, it's case by case. It depends on the symptoms you're showing, if any at all. But if you're not showing any symptoms and you're not sick, then no, you do not get hospitalised. You have the option of staying in a quarantine facility at a hotel, which if the hotel you're staying at has one, then you can stay there, obviously in a separate room, but stay at the same hotel with your family, or you can move to another hotel with a quarantine facility that your family can go as well. And the lady explained that you can open the doors if you've got a balcony, you can go outside, open any windows. So I would imagine, as long as you're not too close to your family, that if you were standing on the balcony, you could have a conversation with them. So this idea of being totally isolated is a little bit incorrect. I'm not going to say it's totally incorrect, because of course, if you've got very bad symptoms and you need hospitalisation, then you will be hospitalised, of course. So it does come down to a case-by-case basis, but a lot of the information on the internet that's floating around can be a little bit misleading. Let me just swap over the cameras. Okay, so lots of sunbeds along there. A lot of people actually down here today. We are right at the beginning of March, so middle of the dry season, as I've mentioned. And just look at it, absolutely beautiful today, really is nice. So I hope that's cleared one or two little points up. And of course, the good news, now only one PCR test. Now, as I mentioned, the rumours about the quarantine length, the period being reduced down to 5 days, if you're unfortunate enough to catch it hasn't yet taken place. But they have now said that in April, providing this round of restrictions, the reduction of the restrictions go well, i.e. that the numbers stay fairly stable and there's no sudden peaks or anything untoward, in April they're going to look at, again, I must stress this has not been officially announced, so it's only what I'm reading on the internet, but they are looking now at removing day one test, so that you will be able to come into the country without any tests, providing you're vaccinated, of course. So people that haven't yet been vaccinated, it doesn't mean you would be able to come into the country without having a test. What I think they're saying is the people that are vaccinated would, if it becomes official, it's not official yet, as I've said, it's just talk that they're going to look at in April, and also they will reduce the quarantine period down to 5 days. So these may be something that we're going to see the 1st of April coming to effect, and I really hope it does, because now it's going to help tourism here in Thailand, especially here in Phuket, because it's been very, very heavily hit over the last 2 years, as everybody's quite aware. You know, this isn't something new, people know the situation here, but things are definitely picking up, because you can see it yourself. It's right in front of you there, so you can see the situation. Lots of people on the beach enjoying themselves today. Again, I'm not going to use the word packed, but there's definitely people here, without a doubt, enjoying the facilities. Let me just be nosy and have a look at the prices. Water sports, controversial issue here in Thailand and indeed Phuket, but I'm going to show it you anyway for the people that are interested. So we've got some prices there, which is nice to see. 1,500 for one person for 30 minutes jet skis, parasailing 1,500, banana and storm boats 700, and well, both 700. Sorry, Cap. Cap. So again, it's a bit of a controversial issue, the water sports, but as I've said, there are ways to protect yourself, and there's nothing wrong with coming on a holiday and enjoying the facilities here. But just bear in mind, there have been incidents in the past. I'm not going to refer to them as scams, because a lot of people say, oh, this scam and that scam, and I've covered this on the Laguna video. So if you want to know about the scams and how to avoid them, go and watch my Laguna video that I've just recently done in the last few days. There's a little section in there where I talk about scams and how to protect yourself. It's quite easy. I've been coming to Thailand over 20 years now, and I've never had any problems. We've hired jet skis, haven't we, Nat, in the past, motorbikes and all sorts. Never had any problems over here, because I take a few simple precautions, and that's all you need to do, really. And then if there's any discrepancy, providing you followed what I've said, you're not really going to have any problems over here. The people that leave themselves open, of course, Thailand is no different to anywhere around the world. There are people that will scam people if they have the opportunity. Whether it's Thailand, Brazil, Argentina, England, the US, you name it, every country in the world has problems with scams. So you just have to protect yourself. But wow, fantastic here this morning. Just beautiful. Now, I will be covering Patong at night, of course, and Kata, Karon, Kamala, Surin, all the major destinations I'm going to film live, because as I've mentioned before, the live series of videos, most of these videos will not be monetized. Some will, of course, the ones that I can monetize, I will, but I'm not making the live series with the intention of them being monetized, because by monetizing the videos, I have to be very careful what I film, and I don't want to do that. I want to actually show you Phuket raw, so no editing, live, and be able to go wherever I want to go. So if that means walking into a restaurant with music playing, or a bar, or a club, whatever it may be, I can't have the monetization on. As I've mentioned, what's that? Not used to seeing that without a mask. Yeah, I know. Slowly things are getting better. Was that from Richard? I think that was from Richard Sands there. Things are improving, and there's a lot less people wearing masks. And honestly, I've spoke about my opinion about masks. I'm not against them, and I'm not for them. The thing that I don't like about the masks is, of course, when you're wearing a mask, you don't have that initial sort of smile when you meet somebody like a Thai person or somebody else. You don't have that. Having the mask on, it sort of isolates you. a little bit, I find, so that when you walk into a shop, you would normally smile at the people, and that sort of, I'm not going to say breaks the ice, but it takes, I don't know, it just makes people feel more at ease if you get a smile back, and without even saying nothing. But of course, when you've got a mask on, people can't see your facial expressions, and it's sort of, there's something missing when that happens, and it's a little bit of a shame, because when you're happy and pleased to see somebody, they can't see that because you're behind a mask. So that sort of thing I don't like, having the mask on all the time. And I say to Nat many a times, I'm fed up with wearing the mask. I understand the reasons why the Thai government have got the attitude that they would prefer people to wear masks. I totally understand it. I know the arguments for, and I know the arguments against. I try to be a little bit impartial. My feelings are, I don't mind wearing a mask if I need to wear a mask. Where I don't need a mask, like now on the beach where nobody else is wearing them, I don't feel the need I should wear one, and that's perfectly okay. Around the town you will see a lot more people now not wearing masks, and again, I think we've got to get to a point where, are we going to spend the rest of our lives behind a mask? I mean, it's ridiculous. We've got to draw a line somewhere, and I think now there's talk about an endemic. So Thailand, hopefully later this year, is going to categorise the pandemic as an endemic, if I'm right in what I'm saying here, and hopefully then we will see all the restrictions removed, and hopefully the masks will go with that as well. Now, of course, there's still going to be people that are worried, and if you are worried about the situation and you want to wear a mask, then that, albeit, wear one. You know, that is your personal choice, and nobody should tell you otherwise. If you're confident and you're not worried about the situation, then don't wear one. It's as simple as that. But at the moment, there has been no official announcements in Phuket regarding the masks. So as far as I'm aware, it is enforceable in all public areas. So the police have the right to enforce people to wear masks. Rightly or wrongly, they have the right if you're in a public space. My attitude towards masks is you need to use your own common sense. If you're going into a business that's not a restaurant, then it's only polite if the person in the business is wearing a mask that you should wear a mask. I mean, we have a business, and we had a customer the other day that came into our business. It was a foreigner. What nationality was he, Nat? Do you know? Not sure. He spoke English, but I'm not saying he's English. I don't know, because I wasn't there. He came with his daughter. He wanted a haircut for his daughter, and nails for himself, and wanted to do probably a pedicure or manicure or something like that, just to tidy up his nails. But he didn't have any masks with him, so Nat offered him and his daughter a mask. He refused to wear the mask while in the salon. Now, we have an obligation as a business and under current Thai law to refuse people that won't wear masks. We don't want to refuse anybody, but it's our business, and if we allow people to come in the business and not wear a mask, then we could be closed by the local government here. If they were to come past or do a spot check, find people inside a business not wearing a mask, we could be shut immediately, because we're breaking the COVID prevention rules. So because of that, we have to abide by it, and I don't mind if that's the current regulations, then so be it. Then I have to do what we have to do. But I understand not everybody wants to wear a mask for whatever reasons, but unfortunately in our business we have to enforce it, because it's our business, it's our livelihood. We don't have a choice. Obviously, if we choose to allow people to come in and not wear masks, then we're risking having our business closed, and we can't afford to do that. So, you know, I try to stay as unbiased as I can, but in certain circumstances I have to say, well, I'm sorry, but if you want to come into our business, you're going to have to wear a mask, because our business has to operate under the rules of the current Thai law, and that is what they're saying we have to do. Out there, just looking along the beach, it is beautiful. The sun's coming back out actually. Let me just swap around the cameras. So we've got a couple of jet skis out there, or just one. No, just Actually, there's 3 on the water I can see. One right over there, one in the middle, and one here. So we've got some jet skis, so there are people using them. Quite busy actually on the beach. So those are my personal thoughts anyway on masks. Everybody's got their own opinions. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think it's mainly about using common sense. If you're going to enter into somebody's business and you can clearly see them wearing a mask, out of respect, I think you should wear one. I always do. If I go into a business and they've got signs on, please wear masks, then out of courtesy, I wear a mask. Regardless of my own feelings, I just think it's the right thing to do. And don't forget, if you're coming out here on a holiday, you are guests in the country. So where possible, follow the rules. I'm not saying you have to cross all the T's and dot the I's, but surely a little bit of common sense will go a long way. And it just avoids any confrontations that you might not want. Because obviously nobody wants to get fined over here for not wearing a mask. Maybe you picked the wrong day and the policeman's in a bad mood and he just wants to be funny. Something I've noticed today, roadside checks are starting to become more. I've seen 2 today actually and stopped by one. I didn't have a problem. He just asked to see my license. I showed him my license and he said thank you very much, and I was on my way because I'd got an helmet on. He could clearly see I was wearing a face mask. We both were, you know, so there was no problem, there was no issue. So as I say, a little bit of common sense and it goes a long way, and it can make your holiday a lot smoother. Obviously there are people that don't want to follow the rules, and that's up to them. If they fall foul of the law, then they have to put up with the consequences. It's no good moaning about it. If you know, it's like wearing helmets on scooters. People come over here from countries that it's law, and they would never dream of riding a motorbike in their own country without a helmet on. But for some reason they come to Thailand and they don't bother wearing a helmet, even though it's law here in Thailand to wear a helmet. And then when they get stopped at a police check, they moan because they're fined. What can I say? You know, just a little bit of common sense goes a long way, and it saves you all the aggravation. If you don't want to wear it, then that's up to you. What more can I say? Well, it's a beautiful picture. A beautiful picture. The sun is actually coming back out. So let me just show you there. The sky, that cloud has passed over. It's cloudy today, but it's broken. What now? Fresh fish. Oh, that guy's just came off the boat. He's been out on the long-tail boat and he's bought some fish. Oh, is he? Oh, sorry. Apologies. Nat says he's been casting from the boat. So he's actually just been standing on the boat, casting the net over the side, and he's catching fish. Well, that's nice to see, actually. I can see also, it's the first time I've ever noticed shark nets on Patong Beach. They may have had it before, but I've never noticed the nets being out. As you can see, the yellow buoys running around, all the way around. That signifies to me that this area here inside the net is safe from sharks. Unusual. I've not seen that before. I may be mistaken. They may have always had these nets here on Patong Beach, but I haven't noticed. I can see one here and one further down that we've already walked past. So, but I know the ecosystem of the island has definitely improved, and clearly we can see now this guy is casting a net off his long-tail boat and he's catching fish right by the shore. So at one time there was a lot of talk about Patong Bay and it not being very clean, with all the pollution from the hotels running into the bay and one or two different things that I'm not going to go into detail now. But obviously things have changed. The bay, the water quality here in Thailand has improved significantly over the last 2 years, and the beaches, I would say now, the water around the beaches is the best I've ever seen it in a long time. Probably the best I've ever seen it since I've been coming to Thailand, to be honest. It's beautiful and clear, and some of the beaches have got like an emerald colour to them that I've not seen before, and the water looks stunning. So, and obviously marine life is doing, shall we say, maybe better than it was before, which is nice, but maybe that's why they have the shark nets out. Please, if you know, if you've seen them before, drop me a comment down below. I might be wrong on that, but I've never noticed shark nets here on Patong Beach. I have seen them on one or two beaches, but I don't think we have them on Caron Beach or Kata Beach. But again, I might be wrong. It may be just something that I've not noticed, but I've just noticed those, and I'm just wondering whether it's because the ecosystem has recovered, and there's obviously more fish around, meaning more predators. Sorry, sweetheart, I'm waving my hands around here and knocking that. And of course, more predators in the water, i.e. sharks. So maybe that's why they're out. I don't know. Maybe maybe that's wrong. I'm not quite sure. But you can certainly see beautiful today here on Patong Beach. Reasonable amount of people, as I've mentioned earlier. I'm not going to say it's packed, but this is probably the busiest I've seen it in quite some time, I'll be honest with you. In fact, I don't remember seeing Patong Beach this busy for the last 3 years. Even just before the situation that we've had, it wasn't that busy here in Patong. Yeah, 2 years it's been going on, I'd say. But it does seem busy at the moment, which is great to see. I'm really pleased to see it, to be honest. It's nice to see all the tourists back. Well, tourists back is the better word. Not all the tourists, but tourists back. And hopefully after today, we're going to see even more arriving, because it's slowly getting easier. Some of the land borders, I believe, are now starting to open up as well, which is a good thing. So we are seeing that, because again, the land borders have been closed for a very long time. Off the top of my head, I don't know which ones. I have read an article saying there's one in Myanmar that's opened, and I believe there's Cambodia. There's one for Cambodia and Malaysia as well, I think. Again, I can't remember the exact post because I just flicked through it, but I thought, well, that's great to see some of the land borders open up. Of course, people that have staying in Thailand that need to do border runs and that, it's going to take a bit of pressure off those, because slowly we're going to see the COVID exemption visa, for a better word to use, because it's not, the COVID visas are not actually visas. What they are is exemptions to stay in the country, so you don't need a visa because of the COVID problem. We are now seeing that starting to get wound down, and they're becoming very strict on who they are issuing those visas to, or exemptions. I should use the word exemptions, because people get confused between the COVID visa and the fact that it's not actually a visa, it's an exemption from a visa. Just like when you land at the airport, certain countries around the world, you can have 30 days exemption from a visa. And a lot of people believe that's a visa, when it's not actually a visa, it's actually an exemption. The key is the word exemption from a visa, and it just makes it easier for people to come into the country. And let's hope these things are going to come back like we had before, which is going to make travelling in and out of Thailand a little bit easier than it has been. Of course, we're not going to see everything disappear overnight, but each month that goes by now, things are definitely improving. Businesses slowly are picking up, more are open. I can see a lot of activity. We're right outside Bangla Road now, so even though I've been walking 33 minutes, it's taken me from the northern end. I haven't been rushing to get to opposite Bangla Road, just across there. Of course, Bangla Road, most of the places in Bangla Road are open, as you know. Hours of businesses, a lot of people have been asking. I've mentioned this a few times on a few videos about what time does the nightlife stay open. Officially, it's 11 p.m. But unofficially, of course, if you want to find stuff, not everywhere abides by the regulations, so you're always going to be able to find something to do in the evening time, regardless of the time. I can't tell you where those places are, because I don't know. I don't go out late at night looking for those places, but if you have a means of transport, you will find them. I'm not saying you will on Bangla Road, because the police are being very strict as regards businesses on Bangla Road, and I believe all the businesses, or most of the businesses, are closing at 11 o'clock. However, there are other areas in Phuket that may be not monitored so closely, that if you want to find places to go, things to do, you will be able to, as I say. But officially, it's 11 p.m. in the evening. We are hoping that the government will review that again, and maybe again ease some opening hours, allow opening for a longer period of time. I think in the next sort of 2 to 3 months, we're going to see things becoming a lot easier for people over here in Thailand as regards businesses. I know Pattaya is particularly hard hit at the moment. I read a lot of stuff online about it, and they're really holding a lot of the businesses closed. Really, they don't want them to open. Phuket has been very fortunate because it had the pilot Sandbox program. Phuket has got a little bit more leeway when it comes to nighttime entertainment than other areas in Thailand, and we are fortunate because of that position. Of course, I feel sorry for the other areas in Thailand that are not allowed to open up, because it makes making a living and a livelihood very difficult, and I can imagine there's a lot of people struggling over in Pattaya, and we're hoping that that situation is going to sort of right itself very shortly. But of course, there's no guarantees. We don't know how long that's going to be. A little bit quieter down this end, I think. Not quite so many. There's a few in the water, but a little bit more quiet. We're coming down, I suppose, the middle section of the beach, would you say? I guess just past the middle section. Once you go past Bangla Road, we're now moving towards the southern end. Plenty of sunbeds here, if that's your thing, if you want to hire one. I don't tend to use them much now because of living out here. I tend to just have a beach mat, lie on the sand. Plenty of places to enjoy the beach, just sit on the sand. Obviously with shadow and that, it's not ideal having sun lounges, but they're here. I don't know the cost of them at the moment. I don't know how much they cost. They used to be around the 150 baht mark, but I haven't used them for so long. I wouldn't like to say, to be honest, but I think they're reasonable. I guess it's your opinion on reasonable. Somebody waving there, wanting me to buy a drink. No, thank you. I'm filming. He wants me to enjoy the sun. I want to enjoy the sun. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, I'm filming. So maybe later. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do later. We've got to take Shadow out, of course. She has been a walk this morning, a daily walk, but not down to the beach. But we can now take her because she had an injection not long ago for fleas and ticks, just basically a yearly thing that she has to have done, and they tell us that we can't take her in the water for 7 days, but that was last Tuesday, so hopefully now she can go back in the water. Shouldn't have no problem. So maybe this evening we'll go down to Anyon or somewhere. Again, I want to cover a lot more areas around the island, a lot of areas that people don't know about, like Koh Siri is an area that's an island within Phuket. A lot of people don't realise Koh Siri is actually an island, and it's joined to Phuket, the mainland, I suppose, if you want to call it, because it's not Phuket, obviously, in the mainland of Thailand. It's an island itself, but Koh Siri is actually joined onto Phuket via bridges, and that is an area I haven't really covered. It does have a beach down there, quite a nice beach, some accommodation, not loads of accommodation, but again, it's a relatively unexplored area of Phuket as regards tourism. So this is an area I want to cover. Maybe it'd be interesting to some people. I know a lot of people love Patong, and whenever I do videos on Patong, I get a lot more views on those videos, and I understand that because Patong is the main area. There's Nat, look, enjoying the sun, got a hat on, chilling, smiling. Nice to see her smiling. Not been many smiles for the last 2 years, I tell you. There's been a lot of pressure on a lot of people, and I understand that. It's not just in Thailand. All around the world, people have been feeling a lot of pressure, and especially here with tourism non-existent, it's put a lot of businesses under an awful lot of pressure, including ours, even though we aren't a tourist business. Everything on Phuket revolves around tourism in some way or form, so you can't get away from it. If you live here in Phuket, you're wrapped up in the tourist industry, whether you've got a business doing something outside of tourism or not, because you will find a lot of your customers will have businesses or work within the tourism industry. So in one way or the other, it affects the whole island, and I'm just so pleased now that we're seeing real signs, I'm going to say real signs of recovery, because up until quite recently it's been sort of very hit and miss. Dare I say, 1 step forward, 2 steps back sort of scenario. Just when you thought things were get better here in Phuket, we then took a step back, and it's been like that for 2 years. But I really feel now, and I'm sure the last few videos that I've done, a few people have mentioned my attitude, my whole persona has changed. I'm more happier, in a better mood, because of obviously everything's improving. So I've been worried the last 2 years because, you know, we've worked very hard for more than 12 years. We've had a business here in Phuket. Some businesses that have been operating a lot longer than that have gone. So of course it is in your mind, you do worry about that, because should our business go and we lose the business, our livelihoods are gone, and then we have to then, well, would I be able to stay here in Thailand? I don't know. It's a question I don't really want to have to be in a position to have to answer, to be honest. So of course, with this now, the new year and the new restrictions being eased and things definitely improving, I feel a lot more happier and confident. The business is doing better. I'm not going to say it's doing as good as it was before, because it's not. We have some weeks that are very bad and very quiet, and then other times we have good weeks. So you have to sort of take the good with the bad, I suppose, like everything in life, and I'm sure people will recognise that all around the world. It's affected the whole world, not just Thailand, not just Phuket. So it's something that I'm just happier in myself now. I'm more focused on making content now, because I've had to put a lot of attention towards the business to make sure we're doing everything we possibly could to keep it going. I've had to try and help Nat, trying to get new customers in very difficult times, because some of our regular customers haven't been coming as regular because they don't have the money. So we have to, yeah, I'm just going to walk towards the road now, because we're coming towards the bottom part of Patong Beach. I've done quite a long video today, actually 41 minutes. I wasn't planning to make it so long, so I hope I haven't bored you. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, please remember Nat running there for the shade, because it is actually really hot now. The clouds just clearing up, and look at that above me. I mean, oh God, the sun's right above me. So it is really hot now, and Nat running there for the shade because it's very, very warm and I'm starting to sweat. Well, as I was saying, I hadn't planned to make it 42 minutes long. I'd sort of planned around 20-25 minutes, but it just shows you how quick time goes. But if you've enjoyed the video, then please do give it a thumbs up, because it helps. And I'm also going to say, please do share it on your social media, because I want to grow the channel. I want to do a lot more work. I want to cover a lot more things. So I need your help really to do that, grow the channel. Share it on your social media, my stuff, and then that gets me out there and gets more people to know, and will make things hopefully in the future a little bit easier for me, because it hasn't been a smooth ride for me on YouTube by any means. And I think anybody who's looking at doing YouTube channels, it can be very, very hard work, and there's a lot of things that test your patience, like this morning with my phone. I mean, now it's working perfectly. What happened this morning, I just don't know. I think Nat's going for a drink there, look, at one of the vendors. So that's one of the things I love about Thailand. You're never far away from food and drink, just a few minutes. So as I said, share it on your social media. Do check out the description down below, because lots of links in that description to my social media. Yes please, sweetheart, I'll have a red soda please. Oh, not for drink. Oh, it's ice cream. Sorry, apologies. It's not drink. It's actually Thai ice cream she's serving there. So, as I say, lots of links in my description to my social media. I'm trying to flip the camera. Okay, something a little bit different there. So she's grinding the ice there. I've never seen that before, by hand. Yeah. So there you go. And then she's going to put some syrups over it and a few bits and pieces that you can get. And how much are these, Nat? Well, can you ask the lady? 20 baht. What a bargain. Fantastic. Something I love about Thailand. The food over here, the food and drink. If you're away from the main commercial touristy bits, these little vendors, fantastic for some cheap food and drink. You know, 20 baht for some, not ice cream, but I suppose it's, I forget what it's called now. There's a particular name for it that I've seen in Swensing, the ice cream shop. They call it something, I forget what it's called. But anyway, I'm going to cut it now because we're coming up to 45 minutes and I don't want to bore you to death. So again, check out the description, my links, my social media. Check it out. I've got a new page now on Tumblr, which I'm trying to build up, as well as Facebook, because I know not everybody follows Facebook. So go and check that out if you're interested. I will be varying the content on all my social media, so it's not going to be a repeat of everything. So I guess that just leaves me to say, as always, you take care, and until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. And thanks for watching.